Hi, my name is Andy Hawker. I love things that go fast. This love goes all the way back to my childhood when I began playing with smaller versions of all things fast. And if you're like me, you probably played with the same toys I did. And as we've aged, we've tended to once again look for and even collect those toys from our youth. So join me as a fellow disciple of speed. Hello, fellow disciples of speed, and welcome to another episode. Tonight I want to talk about something that was really fun and different and unique and very innovative in the world of racing and in the world of Hot Wheels at the same time. In the early 1960s, there was some drag racers who were part of the National Hot Rod Association, NHRA, which is the sanctioning body for drag racing. And there was one guy in particular, his name was Don Prudhomme. Now, Don Prudhomme was a very good driver. He would drive other owners' cars and he could win. He was a very, very good, reliable driver. In fact, he was so good at the start, he could jump the start so well that he got a nickname, the Snake, because he could jump at the start. He could strike at the start. And the whole shot of drag racing is very, very important to the overall race and to win. So Don Prudhomme became known as the Snake. But Don struggled at trying to make a living at racing. It was just almost impossible. Getting major sponsorships, getting paid reliably and honestly from tracks, and there was just a lot of different difficulties for Don. So Don worked part-time painting cars, but again, just struggling really to do what he was passionate about, to make a living at what he was passionate about. There was another driver by the name of Tom McEwen. Now, Tom was also a very good driver, kind of the same path. He was racing other people's cars, but Tom was a really good self-promoter. Tom knew how to get sponsors, but again, just not really getting it to the degree that he wanted, not making the kind of money that he wanted. So Tom had this idea after seeing his kids playing with Hot Wheels cars. He thought, well, what if we went outside of the traditional car sponsors, the automotive related sponsors, and got somebody to sponsor not one but two cars. Now, backing up slightly, the guy who was his engine builder referred to him one time as Mongoose because Tom and Don would race each other, and they had a little bit of a rivalry going. They were both very good. And so Tom liked this idea of the mongoose, the snake and the mongoose, this classic rivalry. So he thought, what if we take these two ideas of the snake and the mongoose, create characters out of that, and the idea of going to Mattel and Hot Wheels for sponsorship, and we create grudge match races across the country, across the region, and promote not just NHRA drag racing, but promote Mattel and Hot Wheels and get serious sponsorship money. So they went to Mattel and they did exactly that. They convinced Mattel to sponsor two dragsters, two funny cars, and gave them a bunch of money. Now, Don had been a traditional top fuel dragster racer, and he had won a national championship. So the idea of getting into a funny car really wasn't something he wanted to do, but he also realized, but now he could make money. So they took this show on the road, and they would go race across the country at different tracks, and they would have not just racing and bracket racing, but they would have grudge match racing. And they were extremely successful. They could fill these drag strips wherever they went. And this was huge. And I remember as a kid just being fascinated by the Snake and the Mongoose. I became obsessed with them. And Hot Wheels produced the Snake and the Mongoose funny cars and Top Fuel dragsters and their wedge dragster. And I, as a kid, I really only had one. I had the Mongoose, the original Mongoose. Today, I've got quite a few. And that's what I want to show you today is my collection of Snake and Mongoose cars. I'm very, very happy to do this today, to share these with you. So in order to do that, we need to get inside the cabinet here. This is where I keep most of my Snake and Mongoose cars. I'm going to get those out. We'll look at them individually. And then after that, we'll look at some recent finds. Before we take a look at the cars, I just want to go over a little bit of these pictures here. These are bubblegum cards. When I was a kid, you know, people collected baseball cards. That was always a big thing. It's always been a big thing. But at the time, when I was a kid, you could get baseball type cards out of gum that were actually race cars. They were motorcycles. And drivers, and I collected all of these. I've kept all these for all these years, and they're just very, very fun, very nostalgic. These great old style dragsters are just so much fun. The Pro Street, the funny cars, and then even the Top Fuel. But there's a couple in particular I wanted to look at tonight, and they're right here. Here is the Mongoose. And that was driven by Tom McEwen. And there's the Snake. That's these two cars are the second iteration of their cars. So this would have been the second year that they had sponsorship from Mattel. And this was Don Prudhomme's Plymouth Challenger, and then of course the Plymouth Duster. So yeah, those are really fun. If we flip over a couple more, you'll see some more great dragsters here from back in the day. I was always a big fan of the Green Mamba jet car. Here's some Top Fuel cars. On the back of these cards, it tells you, the driver, maybe who the owner was, what the engine is, and a little synopsis of the car, the team, the driver, and so forth. But right here are two pictures. And this is Tom McEwen, driver of the Mongoose. Not the most flattering picture of him. It's kind of funny. But and then Don Prudhomme, who drove, of course, the Snake. And these are the two guys. You can see the Hot Wheels logos on their driver suits. These are the two guys who really changed the face of drag racing. But I also want to point out next to them another legend, Don Garlits, Big Daddy Don Garlits. We might talk about him another day, but he was a huge force in the world of drag racing. I just wanted to share those with you very quickly. Now we'll look at some cars. So as I mentioned before, the first car that I had as a kid, really the only one that I had, was the Mongoose, and it lost all of its stickers along the way. It got a lot of play. But here's another Mongoose, and this one came from my good friend Doug Morrell's collection. And you can see it's got really all the stickers except the hood sticker. Now this car, you can see the Hot Wheels logo. This was representative of what they were driving on the track. And of course it opens up. It's a funny car, so the prop comes up, and you can sit the car there with the body up, and work on the car, start the car, get the car going, whatever, right? This again is the second iteration of their cars. Now here's the Snake right here. So these two cars were both my friend Doug's cars, and the reason they're the second iteration was they did start out, the Mongoose started out as blue, but the Snake started out as yellow. And so, but the second year went to the white and the flames. But the first year they had a stripe with stars going down the middle of the car. Now I want to show you those right now. So we'll move those back. And these two cars are representative of the very first iteration of the Snake and the Mongoose that were on the track. Now if we take a look at the Snake, a profile shot here, again we can lift the body up and you can see inside it. This one is much more detailed. So this is a premium Hot Wheels that came out in a set, about 12 years ago or so, 13 years ago. And again, very prominent Hot Wheels sponsorship. You can see the Snake logo here, but you also see this spoiler is on the roof. So the first year that they ran their cars, They put the spoiler up on top there to create the downforce on the rear wheels. And you can see the Snake was yellow and had the stars and stripes down the middle of the car. Same with the Mongoose, had the stars and stripes. And here again, you can see the Mongoose logo on the side, Mongoose picture with the Hot Wheels sponsorship. You can see the dual chutes in the back. And again, this body lifts up to show you the engine, the driver's compartment. Very, very great detail. Now, as I said, these two came in a set about 12 years ago or so, but they came with a 124 scale car. And these are magnificent. These are two of my most prized cars in my collection. So here you can see the big version of what we just looked at. And these cars are just fantastic. And the detail, when you open it up, you can see the individual plug wires going to the Hemi engine. You get a great look at the driver's compartment. You can see the fuel cell up front, the supercharger on the engine. You can see that the belt has unfortunately broken, but you know, that's really just because it is 12, 15 years old. And the rubber belts on these kinds of things, as we looked at in the past, like with tracks on Lesney tanks and so forth, they can break pretty easy. But this car is just gorgeous. And you can see on the bottom with the flat plates on the bottom, and Mattel 1997 is when this was copyrighted. So yeah, it's a beautiful car. Now, this set also came then with the Mongoose, of course. So here's the 124 scale Mongoose, and the Plymouth Duster, and it's also just a beautiful, beautiful car. You open it up, you can see the compartment. Now, you will see the belt on the supercharger on this one is still in good shape, but you see the difference in the supercharger inlet too. So you can see that this has downdraft in the supercharger, whereas the Snake had the forward inlet on the engine of on the supercharger. So the two guys, Tom and Don, had their own designs that they decided on for their cars. And again, just a great rivalry. You can see the steering linkage over here going to the front wheels. The front wheels, you can steer them, and that linkage goes back and forth. And then the body closes, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful model. Hot Wheels did an amazing job on these cars. And again, these have a special place in my cabinet, and they are just prized pieces of my collection. But what I also love about them is they are representative of speed. Drag racing in the 60s and 70s was huge, as it is today, and the speed was everything. Now, a few years ago, Mattel came out with, within the last couple years, came out with the set of the Mongoose. And again, it opens up and has the prop in there. Does not have the stars on here. It's a little bit of a less cost to this casting, but then also the truck, and this car and this one were representative, of course, of the first 2 years of Snake and Mongoose traveling around the country doing grudge matches. They both had Dodge trucks for their car carriers. One was a 68, one was a 67. And these, of course, are just representative of a hauler. But beautiful set. Another great set that Mattel came out with in the last couple of years. Along the same lines, then they came out with, and this is part of their Racing Rigs series, but the second iteration of the Snake on a hauler as well. So here's another version of the Snake 2. You can see right on the side, Snake 2. And so this was the second iteration of the Snake. Now, I also have one more set that this was in a premium set, and this kind of is a little more representative then of the second iteration, the Mongoose 2 and the Snake 2, but are in this same kind of class as the set that came with my 124 scale. So these are very, very nice pieces showing Snake 1, Mongoose 1, Snake 2, Mongoose 2, and very, very good representative pieces. Now later, Mattel withdrew their major sponsorship after I think it was 2 or 3 years of successful sponsorship. They withdrew their major sponsorship, and they agreed to be a minor sponsor. So after that, Don Prudhomme went to this Chevy Monza. I'm sorry, no, this is the Plymouth Arrow body, and so this body he got major sponsorship from the Army, and the Hot Wheels was actually still doing some minor sponsorship at this time, but this car doesn't actually show any of that, but they were doing minor sponsorship. And at the same time as the Snake was driving this car, that's when Tom McEwen went to the Corvette funny car. And here's the Mongoose Corvette funny car. And the primary sponsor was English Leather. So again, you know, they kind of stuck with the theme of going beyond the traditional automotive sponsors when they went with Army and English Leather. So yeah, great cars. These are cars I've had for a long time. These were cars that I had when I was a kid. So great representative cars there. Now here's a car that is again kind of the next iteration then for Don Prudhomme. Still has the Army, but moved up to a Plymouth, and so you can see there that he's another great model as well. Now the other thing that Mattel did, because Don Prudhomme was really a funny car driver, you know, and he wanted to win a championship again. He was a Top Fuel driver, and he wanted to win a championship in Top Fuel racing. So he went back to running Top Fuel, and they made a slingshot dragster of the Snake and the Mongoose, and then they made this wedge dragster. And this was when Top Fuel dragsters switched over to the rear engine. And this was before they started going to big wings and everything to hold the car down. They used this wedge design. And so this was one of the Hot Wheels that was produced for the Snake. And it's the only one that I have from the Snake Mongoose series at this point. But it's and the front wheels on this guy were really pretty fragile. So sometimes you'll find this, and these front wheels are just gone because they were pretty fragile. The stickers on this aren't too great, but I was pretty happy when I found that. Now the other thing that I have is, here's another set of Snake and Mongoose, and these are also very different, right? Because here's a white snake with green and yellow stripe and stars. Well, that car never really existed. And the blue one here with the red and purple stars, that didn't exist either. But these two cars came in a race set. So this was just a different color variation that Hot Wheels did. This is a newer version of these two cars, and you can tell that right here where it says vintage on here. So these came out in probably in the 90s, early 90s, maybe late 90s, and they were part of a track set that you got and you could race. Now I want to look at a couple more cars here, but these are all in the package. So here's a Mongoose. Now this is also English Leather, you can see here, and this one's still in the package. I'm going to leave these in the package for now, but this is the same style of Corvette, but this is now the next iteration of Corvette Mongoose past this one. Still English leather, different color, a little different markings. So that was the next Corvette in line. And then, bump the camera. And then here I also have, this is really that early iteration of the Mongoose, but it's in a premium set with nice rubber tires and everything as well. And same here. Here's that same Mongoose that we looked at before, essentially with the flames. And this is the a different production version than this one, but still just really, really nice cars. And that is the Mongoose cars. Now we come back to the Snake. Here's a yellow original style Snake. This is the old style casting, of course, that Hot Wheels did. And you can see the major sponsorship here. Now, when Hot Wheels pulled back, the first car that Don Prudhomme did was the Snake 2. It was this all black car. You can see it says, I'm sorry, Snake 3. It says Snake 3 because Snake 1 and 2 were primary sponsored cars by Hot Wheels. Now you can see the small logo, which means they became a secondary or smaller sponsorship. And so this was that next year after Hot Wheels pulled out their major sponsorship. And then I've got just a variety of Snake cars that he did over the years. Here is the Army Snake Vega. So this was a Vega funny car. Here we have the Snake Cuda. So this is a Barracuda, the funny car. And then we have the Snake Monza, the Chevy Monza. And then lastly here we have the Snake Plymouth Arrow. And so yeah, that's the iterations of the Snake and Mongoose that I have. Again, I have just always been a huge fan of Snake and Mongoose cars, and whenever I find some, I like to pick them up and add them to my collection. I do have this one other one. Now this is the first iteration of the Corvette, the Mongoose, and so that would be the premium version of this, a high volume production version Corvette that I had as a kid. So you can see the similarities there and some of the differences. So that's it for my Snake and Mongoose collection. And lastly, I have this nice set here from Hot Wheels. This is the Mongoose, and this is with the car carrier that they had at the time. Of course, this is unopened. I haven't opened this piece, but here you can see that it is a Dodge truck, and it's the '67 Dodge with the dual cab. And this is exactly the type of truck that they used when they were running up and down the highways, doing their racing all over the country, doing grudge matches. So this is another great set. There's also a Snake version of this. I don't have it at this point, but this one I keep in the same part of the cabinet with all my other Snake and Mongoose cars. Okay, now we're going to look at some recent finds. And as I've mentioned in the past, one of the things that I really enjoy about this hobby is the hunt. I don't buy cars online too often. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all, but I do enjoy getting out and looking at cars and being able to pick them up and touch them and everything before I buy them and make sure that it's something that I really want in my collection. And it's just a lot of fun for me. So what we're going to look at today is a variety of cars that I've recently picked up, and we're going to start with the smaller cars. This is a London bus. It is the double-decker bus. It's an AEC Route Master made by Play Art. Now, Play Art is one of those die-cast car companies that's not really well known. There aren't a ton of them or anything, but this is made in Hong Kong. It doesn't have the year on it. I had a little trouble trying to find it, but as you know, cars that were made in Hong Kong typically were from the 60s and maybe early 70s. So given that, this little bus is in great condition, and the decals are still really pretty good. And die-cast metal, fast wheels, Oxford. So yeah, great little find. I kind of like the London buses. Next, I've got a Matchbox. It's a Volvo container truck. So there was a bunch of these different Volvo trucks that were produced by Matchbox. A lot of different box types with the different stickers. This is just cool paint company. The back doors did open on the container. The container could also come off, which also made it very susceptible to getting lost. So you'll find a lot of these around, not so many of these. So when I found this little set, I was pretty pleased with that. So you can see it just says Volvo, and the copyright date was 1981. So a nice little truck. Next, we've got the Matchbox 21 Ford Model T. This would have come out in 1993, so it's not terribly old. But I got a few of these. But one of the things that I really like about this, and you can see there, it says 21 Model T Ford, made in China, so it's not one of the older ones. But it's a Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, so that one I liked, and it's in great condition. So another nice addition to the collection. This guy is the utility truck. So this also would have come out in 1992. And so it says telephone company on there. And this one is in nice condition. A lot of times these little utility trucks, the boom would be gone or the bucket is missing, but everything is here and it's in really good condition. So I'm very pleased with that. And this was made in Thailand. So as you can tell, it's not a terribly old one. That's where Matchbox is made today, in Thailand. So yeah, great little find. Just in super condition. I would call that in mint condition. Fantastic. Next, let's look at another Matchbox that I did not have. So this one is called Sand Digger. So this is fun. This is like a Baja style VW Bug. It's an early version. Got a little rough paint on the front here and on the top of the windshield frame. But this is really fun. This guy came out in 1983. And this one is made in Macau. So again, not in England or Hong Kong or anything, but in Macau. And so this same engine style was on another VW Bug that was a Lesney. And it was called, I believe that one was Bugged Out. And so, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So they reused that molding, plastic molding on the engine and put it on this guy. And you can see a little tampo there of a ladybug. So, Sand Digger. I didn't have that, so I was pretty pleased with that. Let's move over to some Hot Wheels. Here is a Hot Wheels. This is the Purple Passion. Of course, this car is not purple, but it is part of the Steel Stamp series. This came out in 1995. Here again, I mean, gosh, this thing is in perfect condition. The white wall tires are great. All of the paint and the tampos are in extremely good condition. There are no paint chips anywhere. So I do have this car already in my collection, but I don't have it in this good a condition. So very pleased to find that guy to add to the collection. We have a classic Cobra. So Cobras, there's just a ton of these produced in different colors, different wheel combinations and so forth. But this one is really nice. Again, this is part of the classic Cobra was part of the 60s Muscle Cars 5-pack. It would have come out in 1995. The engine opens, or the hood opens to show the engine. But again, paint, fantastic condition, absolutely great. So very happy with that guy. That happens to be one paint scheme that I do not have of the Cobra. Now here we've got the Sheriff Patrol, and this is part of the Color Changers series. This came out in 1989. You know, if you hold this car and heat it up with your hand, you could put it in the freezer, you could do different things with it. But if you warm it up, you'll see that it does change color. And Hot Wheels still makes color changers today, so not that unusual. What's really kind of unusual, though, is this says taxi and police. So it's a car that wasn't really sure what it wanted to be. But it was produced by Mattel, again, came out in 1989. This guy, though, is in really, really good condition as well. I have one of these, but it's got a lot of paint chips. It's just really, really rough. So the Blackwall tires, great find there. This one's not very unusual. This is the Solaire CX4. But what's a little unusual about it is that it is in really good condition. It's got the ultra fast wheels on it. This came out in 1989. Just in good condition. The paint is nice, not too rough. A little bit of the tampos rubbed off a little bit on the bottom side there, but in great condition. And of course, the back opens up. This is, reminiscent of the Le Mans style cars, the Group C racers, that type of thing, but it's a Hot Wheels design. So, yeah, that was a good one to add as well. Now, this one is a Corgi Jr. So, again, you can see it's a Range Rover. This was made in Great Britain, so it is an older one. I don't know the date on this. I tried to do a little research, couldn't find the date of it. But again, the Corgi Jr. was during the time that sort of the time when Mattel had also taken over Corgi and was doing kind of the version, or not Mattel, I'm sorry, Matchbox. And so that's when the Corgi Juniors came about. But this guy's in nice condition, Mountain Rescue, and one I did not have as well. Now, let's move up scale a little bit. Here is the Matchbox models of yesteryear. It is the 1918 Atkinson Steam Wagon, the Swan Brewery Company. This guy is in just perfect condition. In fact, this is in mint condition. When I got this, it was still screwed down to the plastic holder that it was in, and so had never been out of the plastic holder. I took it out, but just beautiful shape. And it's a little bit newer. This car came out in 1986, so it's not one of the real old models of yesteryear, but one I did not have, just beautiful shape. Likewise, we have the 1926 Ford TT van. So this is, the Model T, but it's the bigger style of T, and it's the Beck & Company. But again, this one was also still in its plastic carrier. You can see Matchbox and models of yesteryear. But just beautiful shape. This thing is also in mint condition. Just another great addition, and a car that I didn't have. So nice car there. Now this one is also a model of yesteryear. This is the 1922 AEC S-Type Omnibus, and you can see all of that here. And this guy was actually produced in 1983, so it's a newer one. I have this bus, but and the bus that I have is in great condition, but this one has different markings on it. This one is the Schweppes ginger ale, but these stickers are all perfectly intact, and just another great addition to the collection. Just a beautiful little bus. So and then the last Matchbox that I have is like one that I've already shown actually before. This is the Londoner, and the Londoner is a Super King. It came out in 1972, and this one, of course, has the stickers on here for Harrods. Harrods is a department store in London, and these stickers are in very, very good condition, actually better than the one that I currently have. So this guy, the paint and everything is just beautiful. There's this little lever on the side, and we may have looked at this before, but you can open the doors to let passengers on and off. So great little Super King bus. So it's kind of funny, I ended up with actually 4 buses this time, because I also have this Corgi bus. And this one is made in Great Britain. So the Corgi bus is the Londoner Route Master bus. Now, it doesn't say that anywhere here, but that's what it is. And I do have this same bus, but again, different advertising markings on this bus. This one is Visit London Zoo. So you can see all the stickers are in great condition. So this bus is also just almost nearly perfect. So it was another great find. Got a lot of buses, but they're just a lot of fun. Okay, now 2 more Corgis. The next one here that I want to show you, this is the Texaco Special Lotus. So this is a Formula One race car. You can see here it says John Player Special. And so this was the John Player Special casting, and John Player Special was a Lotus race car, but this particular one has the Texaco stickers on it. So they went from John Player to Texaco sponsorship on this car. The only downside is this sticker here is half missing, and so you can kind of see that. But other than that, the car is just in great shape, and it did not have a JPS Formula One car, so this is a fun addition as well. So I'll look around on the internet. I might be able to find the sticker, an aftermarket sticker somewhere that I can put there. But a great find and in really good condition. The last one, second to last actually, but this is the Ferrari 308 GTS by Corgi. And what's really special about this car is they actually advertise this as the Magnum PI car. So if you ever watched Magnum PI from back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, this is that car. And the rear opens up to show you the engine in there. But it also has a really fun feature here. This little lever on the bottom. You pull that lever and the headlights pop up. So nice little feature on that. I was a huge Magnum PI fan. Actually, I still am. I still watch some of the reruns. And I've actually seen the real version of the Magnum PI Ferrari at the Peterson Automotive Museum in the vault. And just a lot of fun. So when I saw this guy and just in perfect condition, I was pretty happy with that. The last one that I want to show, I've actually had it a little while, but this is also this one's a dinky. So here we have the AES articulated lorry. So that lorry, of course, is a truck. And then we have the AES tanker back here. And this is an Esso tanker and in really good condition. Very happy with that. One of the things that I kind of love about this and the detail, so you get a little gas tank here on the side. Well, if you push the gas tank up, there it is. So well, for some reason it's not working very well. It's supposed to, oh, you push it in, my fault. All right, I apologize. You push it in and it releases the trailer. So it's a push in, not up. And then you can, of course, connect the truck and trailer. But if you push it in and release it, then you got the drop down wheels here. The trailer will sit on its own. The truck can drive back up to it, back into it, connect, and drive away. Well, that didn't look as easy as I hoped it would. But anyway, that's how that works. The only thing that this has is the stickers are a little bit faded, as you can see, and it is missing one of the filler caps back here. So hopefully I can find a replacement one at some point for this guy, but in great condition. Other than that, paint's in really good shape. And that is it for my recent finds. So that's it for today's episode, and I just had so much fun sharing with you my Snake and Mongoose cars and the bubblegum cards that I have, and again sharing with you my joy, my passion of the hunt, and showing you some of the recent finds that I've gotten. And so with that, happy hunting, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.